just as we get started, we're going to give you just a few little simple rules to remember when you're splinting. These are available at just about every clinic. It just tells you some of the things to be careful with. One of the biggest problems we see when people are splinting is that they get it too tight, and that is just an absolute no-no, because we end up then in a predicament where we could potentially have a problem. So the splint doesn't have to be fancy. One of our biggest failures is also that we don't get the splint in the right position. We might have an arm that we got angled this way or that way, and it's just not right. So these are some of the things we're going to kind of look at. Allowing the foot to drop, that's an absolute no-no. You will end up with a person having chronic foot drop if you position their foot too low. And then slings need to be tight enough to where that the arm is at a 90-degree angle or slightly elevated above 90 degrees, but never below 90 degrees. You always want to check the neurovascular status before and after putting the splint on, and we'll kind of go a little bit through that. One of the fatal errors is anything in an upper extremity is not checking the nerve, and that's real easy to do, but if you don't do it and you don't document it, it's a no-no. Deciding where the fracture is makes a difference, because we always have to splint the joints as well as the break. So that means splinting above and below the break, and then catching the joint below the break and catching the joint above the break. So you have to do that. So I'm going to tell you some more of these things as we go along, but we're going to start off doing a finger. Now, as you know, insurance won't pay for a prefabricated splint. They will pay for a splint that we make, and a lot of times the splints that we make are going to be better overall anyway. So if you look at, let's just say we have a fracture in either this joint or this joint. We can use a simple finger splint then, because that will catch this joint and it'll catch this joint. So then all we have to do is put this type of splint on, and we've got above and below the break and above and below the joint. And then we secure it preferably with Coban. You can use ACE, or you can actually just tape it if you pull it down snug. So that's an easy one to do. Now the one, if you look at these that we have to make, these are actually better overall. So I'm going to show you something right here as we you see, this is a 2-inch, that's as low as we go. It'd be nice if we had a 1-inch, but we don't. So I'm going to cut this off, and then I'm going to explain to you why. Just get this secured for a minute. Anytime you take anything off of the end of this, immediately secure it back, because if you don't, it's going to do exactly what I'm fixing to show you, and that is it gets hard. And if you think about it, just this much of this fiberglass is probably $5. This stuff is really expensive. So when you don't take and clamp the end down, you're just wasting a lot of money, and you shouldn't do that. So the thing that we'll do now is we'll just measure the finger. We're going to do this long finger, and so we know we got about 4 inches there, and we're going to have to come up about 2 inches more. So I'm going to go ahead and get me a little piece of padding, and then we're going to get pretty much got it in mind, but let me measure it again. Okay. So we're going to clamp this down. Making sure that you got ends on the outside, because if you don't, you'll do exactly what we were just showing you. It'll harden up. So then we take the piece that we have here, and I'm going to measure it to here, and we're going to take and cut this thing just like this, almost halfway, and almost halfway. And then we're going to take it and open it up. When we open it right here, we have to take these ends of the fiberglass and cut them, because if we don't, these things harden up and they're just like razors. They will cut their finger, or they'll cut the hand on the opposite side. So we clip it there, cover it, get back here. And cover it. Then you have to wet this. One of the fatal mistakes of putting a fiberglass splint on is to use warm water. Even warm water, it needs to be cold. Even warm water will make a chemical reaction where you will burn their skin while it's sitting up. So never use warm water. Just take and put it in the water, clear it. And I'll put this, because in a minute when we're doing the others, we just have pads soaking wet. So we got our pad to go under here, and we'll go in here, and then we're going to wrap this right around the finger. And you see how wide it is here. You can't put a narrow piece here, because if you do, it won't stabilize the finger. So as you do this, you'll better if we had 2-inch aces, but this is a 3-inch. So then you go right. Like this, and just making sure you're not putting it too tight. Now, before we started, we checked the circulation in the finger, and then after it's done, we check the circulation again with the cap refill, making sure it returns in 2 seconds. And then we also ask her, can she feel it? That catches the neurovascular. Always in on it, like I said, on the upper extremity, make sure that you've got the nerve covered. Anytime that they have anything here, ask them to move their little finger. If they can move their little finger, you don't have an ulnar nerve trap, and that's the one that you would trap. You wouldn't hardly ever trap a radial nerve, but you can trap an ulnar nerve real easy. So if they move that, you just say, okay, we got this. So that covers the finger.